Explosive transfer chaos at Elland Road. Alright, Leeds faithful, buckle up because your beloved Whites are in the middle of an absolute transfer storm that's got everyone at Elland Road on the edge of their seats. We're talking about 3 massive developments that could completely reshape this season. And trust me, you're not going to believe what's happening behind the scenes right now. Picture this, it's the final days of the transfer window. The clock is ticking like a time bomb, and your club is making moves that have got the entire football world talking. We've got a legendary striker who's been through the Premier League wars, a lightning fast winger that everyone's fighting over, and an Italian goal machine who's playing hard to get. But here's the kicker. One of these stories will absolutely blow your mind. Before we dive into this madness, smash that like button if you're ready for some serious transfer drama. Hit subscribe because you know we're always first with the Leeds news that matters, and drop a comment telling us what you think about these earth-shattering moves. But here's what's got me absolutely buzzing. There's a striker situation developing that's got Daniel Farke scrambling, and when I tell you who they're targeting, you'll understand why the Leeds faithful are split right down the middle. Let's dive in. Right, Leeds faithful, here's the bombshell that's got everyone talking. Timo Werner. Yes, you heard that right. The same Werner who terrorized Premier League defenses, but also left Chelsea fans pulling their hair out with his finishing. Now, listen, this is either absolute genius or complete madness from Farke. And I'll tell you why. The German gaffer knows Werner inside out, and with Patrick Bamford officially agreeing to leave, more on that heartbreak later. Leeds desperately need firepower up front. We're talking about a striker who's got pace that could burn any championship defense, 32 goal contributions in the Premier League, and over 100 goals in the Bundesliga. But here's the thing that's got supporters divided. The criticism has always been consistency, hasn't it? One game he's looking like the next big thing, the next he's missing sitters that my grand could have buried. But Bundesliga expert Kevin Hatchard is backing this move, telling us exclusively he'd need a run of games and to stay fit, but I've always maintained there's a great player in there. Leipzig are keen to let him go as they have plenty of forward options. Think about it. Dominic Calvert-Lewin looked absolutely lost in his debut, missing 3 golden chances and a penalty. Joel Pyro is struggling to adapt to the Premier League pace, and Lucas Mecha was only ever meant to be backup. Werner brings that explosive pace that could stretch defenses and give Leeds the counter-attacking weapon they're crying out for. Here's the mad part. Werner's got 87 Premier League appearances under his belt, 12 goals and 20 assists during his time with Chelsea, plus 17 goals and 7 assists in 43 Champions League matches. The experience is there. The European pedigree is undeniable, but the question remains about that killer instinct in front of goal. But here's where it gets interesting. RB Leipzig are desperate to get rid of him, which should tell you something. Burnley are also sniffing around, and if Leeds don't move fast, they could miss out on a player who, despite his flaws, has proven he can perform at the highest level. The window's closing fast, and sometimes you've got to take risks to stay. In this league, the question is, are Leeds taking a calculated risk or gambling their Premier League survival on another inconsistent striker? Because what's coming next will shock you even more. Hold on to your scarves, Leeds faithful, because while Farke was chasing Werner, they've just been dealt a devastating blow in the race for one of Europe's hardest wingers, Elland Road. Remember that name because he's the 23-year-old French sensation that was supposed to be the missing piece of Leeds' attacking puzzle. Here's where it gets absolutely brutal. Leeds were among the first to spot this talent at Strasbourg, but while they were playing it cool, Nottingham Forest came in swinging with not 1 but 2 bids, including a massive $30 million offer. But get this, even Forest's mega money couldn't seal the deal because Fulham have swooped in like vultures and are now in advanced talks to steal Bakwa from under everyone's noses. This is exactly the kind of signing Leeds needed. A pacey, goal-scoring winger who could have added that extra dimension to their attack. The lad's got everything: pace, skill, and most importantly, he knows where the back of the net is. But while Leeds were probably trying to negotiate a better deal or waiting to see what else was available, Fulham showed them how transfer business is really done in the Premier League. The timing couldn't be worse either. Leeds have already splashed $18 million on Noah Okafor, which was supposed to be their big attacking signing, but clearly Fark knew they needed more. With a reported $150 million budget and over $100 million already spent, they technically had the money for Bakwa. But sometimes in football, it's not about the money, it's about who moves fastest. What makes this even more frustrating is that Leeds were apparently monitoring Bakwa since early August. They had the inside track, they knew his quality, and they could see he was exactly what their attack was missing. But in typical Premier League fashion, while they were doing their homework and probably trying to get the best deal, other clubs were making decisive moves. This loss stings because it shows Leeds are still learning how to operate in the big leagues. In the Championship, they could take their time, negotiate, and usually get their man. But in the Premier League transfer market, you snooze, you lose, and Fulham just taught them a masterclass in decisive action. It's a harsh lesson about how quickly things move at this level. But if you think that's frustrating, wait until you hear about the striker who's still playing mind games with Leeds. Right, Leeds faithful, here's the story that'll have you absolutely fuming. Andrea Pinamonti. This Italian international striker has been messing Leeds about for weeks now, and the situation has got more twists than a soap opera. Picture this. Early August, Leeds agree a fee with Sassuolo for Pinamonti, everything sorted, medical booked, probably got the shirt printed, and then boom! The Italian says thanks but no thanks, and rejects the move completely. Can you believe the audacity? But here's where it gets absolutely mental. With just days left in the transfer window, journalist Ben Jacobs is saying Pinamonti is suddenly one to watch again. The striker's future at Sassuolo is still unresolved, and apparently several European clubs are considering a late window approach. AC Milan have been sniffing around, Werder Bremen are on his radar, but somehow Leeds might still be in the mix. Look at the numbers. Pinamonti's got 54 goals in 224 games across Serie A. He's on the fringes of the Italy squad for the 2026 World Cup, and he's exactly the type of proven goal scorer Leeds are crying out for. But here's what's got me wound up. Why would he want to come now when he didn't want to come before? What's changed? The reality is brutal. Leeds need him more than he needs them. Calvert-Lewin looks completely out of his depth. Pirro is struggling with the step-up, and Amecha was never meant to be first choice. Meanwhile, Pinamonti knows he can probably wait for a bigger club to come calling, maybe even staying in Serie A where he's comfortable. When you compare the stats, it's obvious why Leeds want him. His minutes per goal and assist ratio of 238.3 isn't spectacular, but it's solid, and he's got the experience of playing at the highest level in Italy. He knows what it takes to score goals when the pressure's on, something Leeds desperately need right now. This is what happens when you're the new boys in the Premier League. Players think they can do better, agents play games, and clubs like Leeds get messed about. The Italian probably sees Leeds as a stepping stone rather than a destination, which is harsh but probably realistic given where the club is right now. But here's the million-dollar question that every Leeds faithful supporter needs to answer. Should Fark swallow his pride and go back in for a player who's already rejected them once? Or is it time to move on and find someone who actually wants to play for this incredible club? What do you think, Leeds family? Should we chase players who don't want to be here or focus on building with players who bleed white? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button for more transfer madness. And let's see if Fark can pull off some last-minute magic before Monday's deadline. Because one thing's for sure, this transfer window has shown us that being back in the Premier League is a whole different ballgame, and Leeds United are learning the hard way. MOT.